How does artificial intelligence fit into the picture of like manufacturing and assembling goods?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not an expert in artificial intelligence. I happen to be surrounded by genius or brilliant minds who work on artificial intelligence. I have a little bit of an understanding of AI for sure. So what's happening in the space? What can we do, for example, as engineers or maybe in the manufacturing space with artificial intelligence? So one example that, for example, Monolith has worked on in the past is something what we call in AI a classification problem. So basically the question would be, is it manufacturable or is it not manufacturable? That would be a classification problem. Or is an email spam or is it not spam? Because you basically classify it into two categories mostly, like yes or
Mhm.
no, or is it spam or is it not spam?
Mhm.
So when it comes to engineering applications, for example, for manufacturing processes, what you can imagine is, let's say you have a car and you want to stamp a metal piece for that car. Sometimes it's not really clear if a piece is manufacturable. So this is where artificial intelligence can be very helpful. Usually we distinguish between two different areas. One, we have the data-driven approach, which is basically artificial intelligence because data is the lifeblood of these algorithms that we're using on a day-to-day basis, whether that's voice recognition or what we all heard about ChatGPT. This is also artificial intelligence where data is very important. So on one hand, we have data-driven methods, which is AI. On the other hand, we have physics-based approaches, which is, for example, something I alluded to, such as finite element method, computational fluid dynamics, or other simulation methods that engineers can use on a day-to-day basis. And most of the time, we have gone from punch cards back in the 50s, 60s, now to really powerful computers that basically democratize the use of physics-based methods, which basically means you can run simulations on the cloud. So engineers don't need super powerful workstations anymore, but you can just send your job to AWS or Azure, calculate your results there, and get back the results and basically interpret them. The big problem, however, though, is that physics-based approaches still are sometimes very tedious to set up. It's sometimes very cost-intensive, time-intensive, and under mounting time to market pressure, especially if like the management level listens to this podcast, they probably know you have time to market pressure. You want to create better products because the consumer want better products over time. So it's really crucial to have the right tools in the right stages of the product development process. And for manufacturing, for example, in the automotive space, when you, for example, stamp a metal part, you can basically with AI detect is that part manufacturable or not? And if it's not manufacturable, the engineer can basically in a split second see or make a decision, well, I have to maybe tweak a few parameters here and there, however they are called at the moment, doesn't really matter right now. And with AI, they can basically enhance their own capabilities. And what I always love to say is because everyone is afraid now that ChatGPT will ruin our jobs and marketers won't have a job anymore. It's basically the synergy of AI and human beings is, I think, the most powerful application. So it's not only AI, because AI without any smart data is just dumb AI. So basically, humans plus AI is going to be the most powerful thing that humans will use in the future. So the synergy is important.
The synergy is that what you would call like industry 5.0, or is there a name for that?
Mm, maybe there's probably thousands of names already for it outside, but
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't call it Industry 5.0. Maybe it's just the synergy between AI and humans, if you want, or the AI revolution, where humans play a huge role in it.
Okay, that's cool. So how much AI is that the right way to say it, or how is it currently being used? Do you think that a lot of manufacturers are utilizing artificial intelligence, or are we still kind of far away from that point?
Very good question. So I don't have explicit data on that. So I didn't do any research before the podcast, but what I can really tell you is that I think, please don't quote me on this. I believe since the 2000s, from the Fortune 500 companies, around 51 or 52% basically don't exist anymore. It's basically because they haven't adopted these disruptive technologies such as artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And that goes through aerospace defense, automotive, industrial applications. So what we see is that a lot of companies still are a bit hesitant to adopt these AI technologies. For example, maybe the management level says, well, why would we need AI in the first place? It's not gonna, we still can keep our competition away if we just use our classical simulation methods, for example. But really the point is, and this is really something I want to emphasize on, is we talked about data. And sometimes these companies, especially manufacturing companies, they use sensor data. And when we talk Industry 4.0 and IoT and whatnot, they have a ton of data laying somewhere, if they're very lucky in a data lake or maybe on the hard drives. But most of the time, this data is not being utilized. So it's sitting around somewhere and nobody's ever looking at the data again. So it's basically garbage. But now AI comes in, takes that data from the past, and can basically find input-output relationships, what we call, and basically find knowledge or extract knowledge that engineers left in that data, and basically does kind of a pattern recognition task. And with that, with old data or data that you're currently producing, you can use AI to basically leverage existing data or past data to gain that edge, competitive edge over your competitors.